There it goes. Um, yeah. Hi, I'm Paulo. I'm an aspiring printer and writer, as I mentioned. Uh, I recently graduated from Colorado College, where I studied creative writing and worked as a poster printer at the press at Colorado College. Um, while at the press at Colorado College, I helped design and print many projects. I laid wood and metal type, mixed ink, and printed posters. This work included this broadside of Gwendolyn Brooks Infirm via Brooks' permission, as well as this poster for the new cross-curricular minor at Colorado College. Today, I'll be sharing the collaborative broadside I worked on with my aunt and sister in the months leading up to my graduation last year. While I had done some independent work previous to the broadside, this was my first project I embarked on after having developed as a printer through my job. My sister is Anela Mingueto. You can probably find her in the chat or on the grid somewhere. She is a multidisciplinary artist with a BFA from the School of the Museum of Fine Arts. She uses materials that have a life of their own, such as clay, paper, and fiber, to feed her studio practice and create environments of hope. Our collaboration started when she was the West Bayview Fellow at Dudene, a leading nonprofit organization which serves established and emerging artists through the process of collaborative hand paper making. As we were both interested in utilizing the unique resources available to us at our institutions, we wanted to explore what our collective art practice might look like. Since our work examines our heritage and positionality as mixed Malaysian Chinese Americans, we wanted to create something that would embody the same multiplicity and perspective. Our brainstorming led us to reach out to our aunt, Pei O, a Bath-based poet from Malaysia who debuted with the pamphlet Pictograph in 2018. At the time, she had recently published Bagua with Broken Sleep Books in the UK as part of their Legitimate Snack series. This collection used the Bagua of King Wen as a device to explore identity and diasporic experiences. The Bagua is a set of symbols which orients 8 trigrams to cardinal and ordinal directions around yin and yang. The trigrams arrayed around yin and yang are each laden with meaning, including elemental nature, personality, roles in the family, and more. The trigrams are made of 3 parallel lines, which are either broken into 2 parts or unbroken. The trigrams Anela and I chose to focus on were Li and Kan. The former, Li, fire in English, is associated with the south, while Kan, water in English, sits at the north end of the Bagua, opposite Li. And its composition of its trigram is inverted from Li's, where it goes broken, unbroken, broken. With these diametrically opposed signs, we were drawn to a reading of the contrasts between Li and Kan, juxtaposed with Tai Chi connecting them. Between the two, we hope to foster a reading of harmony, intermingling, and productive difference instead of destruction, separation, or hierarchy. This stemmed from Pei's approach to writing through the Bagua, which she describes as a journey through each section. The poems traverse the various landscapes of meanings associated with their trigrams in a spiral pattern. The interactions of the trigrams are already a site of meaning production, as they are the foundation of the 64 hexagrams which make up the I Ching, which has been used in Chinese divination for centuries. With these perspectives orienting our process, Anela suggested that we use an experimental watermark layered on multicolored abaca paper. Abaca is a Southeast Asian plant, which when beaten in water can be turned into a pulp that is used to make paper. This pulp can then be pigmented with different colors or left unpigmented, layers of unpigmented abaca appearing translucent in thin enough sheets. To create the broadside, Anela used 2 techniques, one with a decal box and the other with a mold and decal. to pull pigmented and unpigmented sheets of paper. Both practices centered on the mold, a wire mesh that drawn across a frame, which holds pulped fibers as they drain. For the foundation of the broadside, Anela used the decal box, seen here, which surrounds the mold with high walls for the artist to fill with pulp. In the decal box, Anela made the two pigmented pulps flow and mix into each other. This movement was facilitated by her pulling out plastic from underneath to create the interaction. For the second layer of paper in the broadside, Anela used the mold and decal. The mold is, the decal is a frame with lower walls that is dipped into vats of pulp, which allows excess pulp to flow over the sides. The watermark was made by laying string across the mold and then pulling a very thin sheet of abaca that would give the paper the appearance of greater depth, creating a multi-dimensional interaction of color to back up the text itself. So this is sheet. I found that the paper alone was able to express why these poems would benefit from existing as an art object. The way letterpress and typesetting work is able to represent and support other people's language is something that drew me to it in the first place. As a printer, I wanted everything I added to be in support of the interactions of the poems and paper over introducing new ideas and visual clutter. A large part of marrying the two was deciding on the ink. I found that an opaque gray that sat on the top of the paper worked best for the titles and their symbols, but for the poems to appear as if they were part of the paper itself, I opted for a transparent gray, which conveyed a sense of floating between the unpigmented paper and the blues and oranges of the base layers. To further elaborate on the bagua being embedded in the broadside, I decided to blind stamp the associated trigrams into the poems Khan and Lee. By printing without ink, I was able to expand on the multidimensional nature of the paper through changing its very topography without competing with the poems visually. While the effect is subtle and most visible from behind in photos, I'm proud of the way these smaller details accrete upon one another. To create the blind stamps and printed symbols, I planned from the very beginning to use photopolymer plates, and after some early experiments with alternative materials, it was the clear choice. After a mix-up in describing the trigrams as characters, I was struck by the possibility of incorporating our family name into the piece instead of yin and yang. We decided early on against using the yin and yang in the blind stamps, since having an impression of a circle in the middle of the broadside would likely prove visually distracting. Ending with the blind stamp of our name felt like the proper way to tie together this project, which started from a desire to explore familial bonds through the dynamic interactions between our respective mediums. Sure, our name is right there in the title of the work, but when you get close and interact with the printed words on intermixed paper, you can feel us in it, not voiced or inked or pigmented, but pressed into its very fibers. Thank you.